The issue of restructuring has been on for a long time. So government is not saying they are unaware of it. The reason why they are not, some of them, they are not like wanting to give into it right away is because some people are benefiting from the present structure. Justice must be served. Justice must be seen to have been done. We all have our places in the place of history. If the president, Bola Tinubu, wants to make history and make Nigeria a better place and bring justice and fair play, he will do it. Other people have come, they didn't do it. You are correct. It's like piecemeal, but you have to start from somewhere. What is left? Well, we now have the tax reform, and it has adjudicated and brought justice and fairness and fair play. We are on the move to restructuring. All we are saying is we pray that the present system or the present president will be kind enough to lead us through the past, because he has the power of lobby, he has the power of the presidency, and so he can lead Nigeria to the path of stardom in the area of restructuring, because that's why we are not united. Because I feel bad when one nationality is dominating my own ethnic nationality. I feel terrible that in my area where I produce the oil within the interior of the hinterland of my area, when Nigeria survives, via which Nigeria survives, nothing is happening there. So how do you look at it? So we need justice and balance in the system.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. On top this regionalism matter and the clamor for self-determination where they go on for inside this country, plenty people they talk about this matter, and every day this matter still they work stronger they go. And as plenty Nigerians they drum support for this move, even the clergymen don't they put their mouth they shook for inside this matter. So today like this man what they call Bishop Joe Igalo, in don't come talk say now waiting Nigeria need for this die moment be that. In talk say there's never a best time to talk about regionalism than now, and now true now in this man talk. He also talk say the reason of the ethnic distrust where they go on for inside this country as a result of the marginalization where they go on for inside the country. Say people where we say they don't even deserve to be at the top, say they push themselves enter the top and they push the real owners aside so that they go feel subdue them. In talk about how this country is on a path to self-destruction if they don't do what they're supposed to, because as it be like this, the problem where they inside Nigeria don't even tire Nigeria itself. And the best thing to do now not to ensure say they do the right thing so that this country no go explode. He talk about how they carry the resources of the south, they go give the north, even though the north no they contribute anything, and now the north see they rule the country. He talk say if something continue like that and this marginalization continue like this, who won't take them? And so the best thing not to do the needful, no like this. In talk say the message and the clamor for regionalism. He talk say now the message where we say they will continue to they sing to the ears of the government until the government ensure say they do and by force. He talk say in as much as some region agree say they go back to the regional setting. He talk say one particular region no one go because of which they benefit from this current structure, and that one no go fit carry us go anywhere at all, because anyhow when you continue to the shit person, it go get the day where we say the person go realize say you dey cheat him and he no go agree again. He also talk about how these three major tribes what we get for inside this country, they marginalize the minorities what we get for inside Nigeria. He talk say for this country now the minorities, if them put them together, now them plenty pass for inside this country, but the three major tribes then they marginalize the minorities, and even the minorities they marginalize their own minority for inside their own state too. So because of this kind of setting and because of this kind of problem, say distrust they among so many ethnic groups for inside Nigeria, and for that reason in talk say make them split Nigeria into 8 regions. He talks say that the dream where we say in don't get before already, and if them do like that, say that the best thing will go happen to this country be that. And true if you look at what this man talk for inside this video, in talk about the fact true, because now true say one particular region no one say make them restructure this country and make we go back to regional government based on say the regional government arrangement no go favor them like the current structure. But it even makes sense make other region they even fold their arms they look while the other region go they shit them. It thing no make sense at all. But the leaders what we get for this southern region, then they like dummy, then they like people where we say they no fit talk anything at all. And this is because they've used money to seal their mouths. They no fit talk anything again. They don't seal their mouth already, and they no get freedom to talk anything about these people again. If not, if you won't fight for your people, abi if you know say you get the interest of your people at heart, now your people na then carry you go Senate, now your people na then carry you go the house. Why una no fit come together make una stand firm on una decision say now waiting the southern people won't be this? Them no fit talk anything, because even them the southern leaders then they enjoy the current structure and the current system where we get for inside this country. Because if we go back to regional government now, you know say the money where they go the earn, you know go they like before again, and the power where we say they go the will and control, you know go they like before again. So they enjoy them like that, and the reason reason why we say that they carry a bit take the masses for a ride be that. Now until the masses stand up and they talk say they no go agree again, say now waiting we want be this, make them enforce them by force by force. Now only that time now this thing will come to fruition. If not, now like this we will continue to dey sing every time. Well, the man talk plenty things inside the video, so I go play the video so that we go watch the video. But before we watch the video, if today na be the first time you visit our channel, make you like, make you share, and make you subscribe.
Let me start this way. Why is there ethnic distrust among ethnic nationalities in Nigeria?
Now, there are a number of reasons that you can adduce to that. Number one, our historical perspectives. For instance, the amalgamation, the lumping, for instance, of the Nigerian system. You know, you lump by the British, lumping everybody together without recourse to culture and geography. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is simply because a minority, yes, a minority, like in Nigeria, where you have about 213 million people, and then what you have is a particular group, ethnic nationality, has just 6%. That's about, let's say, about 6 million. And they have found their way into power. And over again, they lord it over the other percentage. So if you look at the Yorubas, let's assume the Yorubas, the Hausas, they have about maybe 65 million. And then the Yorubas have about maybe 40, 50 million. And then the Igbos have about 30 million. Now, if you take the progression, you will find out that a particular set have taken more time, you know, in power, ruling and having it to themselves for so long. Now, that one, as it is, has created distrust, has created, because the people who are the minority, they feel the pinch because of power imbalance, because of resource control, because of the cultural differences between us, and because of age-long conflict. All of this, pre-colonial conflicts, all of this attribute to the distrust, especially that of the fact that the minority seem to be dominating the other parts of us, marginalizing it and making it look as if they are the minority. So that is where we stand now.
Okay, but when you look at Nigeria, maybe even right from the word go, it appears that some ethnic nationalities have dominated or subsumed others. Is that the making of anyone, or you want to blame the colonialists for that?
Yes, I'll blame the colonialists for that, because they virtually seem to have handed power over to a particular ethnic group, and who have actually progressed in that, seeming gift or assignment. So if you look at it, if you look at the Nigerian history, you find out that that particular ethnic group have been dominant.
But isn't it a case of number? Isn't it a case of, the ethnic nationalities with the highest number? Or is it a case of Nigeria having sub-ethnic group? Because, for instance, if you talk about the Yorubas, you can then be talking about the Ijeshas, the Ijebus, the Aworis, the Egbas. But all of them, when you want to group them, you call them Yorubas. But they are different, even culturally, in terms of belief, irrespective of, proximity.
Yes. No, the issue here is, we cannot take, in this context, we cannot take the very smaller ethnic nationalities into play. We are looking at, in the Nigerian context, we are looking at the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausa, and then the Fulanis. But we look at it from the angle of the Hausa Fulani. Now, this system has seemed to have failed, because even in the present structure, as we view it by way of nationalities, we still have a problem where the most minority amongst these accepted ethnic nationalities, as it were, they still dominate the others, let alone the eventual sum total of the Nigerian system. Now, what am I trying to say? All I'm saying to you is this. We have the Igbos, the Fulanis. I mean, we have the Hausa, which was initially termed Hausa Fulani together, which is now being broken down to only Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbos. Now, we needed to structure it that way, as it were. It didn't mean, or it doesn't mean that there are no other smaller nationalities. Those smaller nationalities, they are being segregated is also what is causing another agitation. But in all of these, what we are looking at is this. Look, when we mesh these three together and put them side by side, one particular ethnic nationality has been dominating the totality of the Nigerian system, or the Nigerian system for a while. Now, we may now come down and begin to break it down into other smaller nationalities, because you see, in the area of smaller nationalities, there's been a serious problem of marginalization, serious problem of exclusivity or exclusiveness, within the corridors of the workings of the Nigerian state. So that's where we are now.
Okay, these ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, do they even have any place in the polity? Are they recognized? What is their place? The ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, whether the minor, the minor ones, or even the major ethnic nationalities, is there any place for them in Nigeria?
It's a pathetic story, my brother. These smaller nationalities, there is no place for them. There's no place for them. There's no place for them, because within the system of dominance has been able to create another system of avoidance, another system of exclusivity towards these nationalities, by way of they have no economic opportunities, they have no educational opportunities, nothing good comes to them. They cannot even partake and participate adequately in the political process because of the segregation and marginalization of these smaller nationalities. And this is where the problem is. And that's why you are having agitations that will not stop. These agitations will continue in the Nigerian state until there is a sitting down, until something else happens that has to bring recognition and readdress the situation and the pain of these smaller ethnic nationalities.
Okay, let's look at the place of restructuring in all of this. For some time, some Nigerians have expressed divergent views and opinions on this particular subject matter. But what do you think restructuring will do in all of this?
There is a place for restructuring. Restructuring means, yes, there's a system already in place. There's a structure already in place. We are not discarding it. We want to restructure it, take away the ones that is causing us pain and backwardness. And then with contemporary dynamics of society, we bring in the ideas and justice and fairness and fair play that will incorporate the entire nationalities. Now, at that point, that is where restructuring comes. Now, when you want to restructure, when we look at restructuring from that perspective, we'll look at the fact that there is power at the center. The power at the center is too enormous that we need to break it down. Because when a particular ethnic nationality takes over power at the center, it subjects the others to marginalization. So, and when we break this down, we break the power at the center down in the restructuring process, and I know we're going to come to that, and make it a regional process, for instance, what you get is fine. Agitations are lowered. Agitations are brought low. The fear of distrust will not be there. People of different nationalities will find a sense of belonging in that contemporary new arrangement and have a sense of nationalism, which we don't have anymore now. There is no nationalism, as it were, within the Nigerian peoples. There's nothing like that. And that's why we have this unity, and we are struggling and we're working hard to ensure that we are one. But within the periphery of looking, or the crevices of looking for oneness, we must understand that we need to restructure ourselves, restructure our government, restructure our constitution, restructure everything that concerns us, and bring everybody together and avoid as much as we can agitations by ethnic nationalities.
So the question is, who is going to restructure Nigeria? Who? It is whose responsibility to get this country restructured?
We have started restructuring. You are talking to me now. Yeah, you are talking to me now. Right? We are discussing it. We need to make people understand where we are. We need to move people in a manner where we'll galvanize the people to understand that, hey, look, we can work this out. I understand that, and I know that the National Assembly, the State House, of the two arms, they are vitally important to this. The presidency is vitally important to this. The Nigerian peoples are vitally important to it. So as we begin to talk like you are doing now, at the end of the day, we'll bring everybody together. We are talking now. The government is listening. The National Assembly is listening. And so when we come together and form a team, the issue of restructuring has been on for a long time. So government is not saying they are unaware of it. The reason why they are not, some of them, they are not like wanting to give into it right away is because some people are benefiting from the present structure. So, but be that as it may, we will keep making the noise we can make it on radio and TV, make it on the pages of the newspaper, write to the Senate, write to the House of Reps. We'll keep doing that. But from what I'm seeing, I know that, from the body language of some of the things that is coming up and the ideas, restructuring will not be far. Very soon we will get there.
Okay, so what format will restructuring take in Nigeria? Because that's one of the issues on the table in Nigeria as we speak presently. What format will it take? The president sending an executive order, or it's a case of the National Assembly swinging into action? I hope you are aware that both chambers of the National Assembly are presently trying to rework the 1999 Constitution. Is that restructuring? Some persons have argued that fiscal restructuring is here with the tax reform bills. Many of the moves of Mr. President, some persons have attributed it to, subtle way of restructuring. Do you agree? What format should this restructuring take?
I agree. That's why I said what we're experiencing today, it gives me the feeling and the knowing that restructuring is very close. The tax reform bill is a clear indication. I have not written off this present administration in the area of restructuring, because it seems to me that it is trying to create the necessary balance to make Nigeria actually one. So the restructuring has actually started. Okay. If I understand you correctly, please.
Okay, so restructuring has actually started. But some persons are saying all of these piecemeal approach will not solve the problem, that the problems are so enormous that piecemeal approach to this issue of restructuring will go nowhere.
But we don't know the mind of the person that did the tax reform. We don't know whether the next move of the person that did originated the tax reform. Justice must be said. Justice must be seen to have been done. We all have our places in the place of history. If the president, Bola Tinubu, wants to make history and make Nigeria a better place and bring justice and fair play, he will do it. Other people have come, they didn't do it. You are correct. It's like piecemeal, but you have to start from somewhere. What is left? Where we now have the tax reform and it has adjudicated and brought justice and fairness and fair play, we are on the move to restructuring. All we are saying is we pray that the present system or the present president will be kind enough to lead us through the path, because he has the power of lobby, he has the power of the presidency, and so he can lead Nigeria to the path of stardom in the area of restructuring, because that's why we are not united. Because I feel bad when one nationality is dominating my own ethnic nationality. I feel terrible that in my area where I produce the oil within the interior of the hinterland of my area, where Nigeria survives, via which Nigeria survives, nothing is happening there. So how do you look at it? So we need justice and balance in the system.
If Nigeria is to be restructured today, what are your recommendations?
Well, my recommendations is, we go into regionalism, which is obvious. We can break into 8 regions. I believe that breaking into 8 regions, will create a balance. The way it is constituted now is not balanced. So if we go back to regionalism, where we take power from the center and let every region constitute their own executive, and then the center, the power remains there, and then just it's like an overseer, then that's fine. So I believe in regionalism, and I believe that we can break into 8 regions, and that will give us more development and inclusivity within the system that will derail us and remove us from the agitations that we are experiencing today.
There are presently 6 regions. Do you intend to dismantle the existing 6 regions, or it's a case of inflecting it by adding 2 others?
My thinking, my position is 2 more should be added. 2. And I hold this view. If you don't mind, I digress a little. Right. I hold this view, sir, because many years ago, I saw Nigeria, by way of regionalism, break into 8 places. So when I began to hear that in the new framework that is within the works, that they are looking at 8 regions, I felt good with it. At least that will bring fairness. And I look forward to that happening. When it happened, it was without a fight, it was without rancor, it was without enmity, it was just beautiful, a beautiful announcement, and everybody gathered together, and it was announced that 8 regions, Nigeria had been broken down into 8 regions. I look forward to that.
8 regions. There are people that are clamoring for parliamentary system of government, saying, oh, the presidential system of government is rather too expensive. You don't have any issues with which system of government Nigeria adopts. It is regionalism that you are concerned with, is it?
Yes. I'm not concerned about, even within the framework of the constitution, that we are saying that it's not a document that was generally, if we go back to the 1963 constitution, we wouldn't have been having most of these agitations. So Nigeria as it stands, and the quest for restructuring, is not as if the present system is totally bad. No. All we are saying is inject fairness into it based on contemporary day dynamics. Once we get that going, Nigeria is okay.
You are a cleric. In all of these narrative agitations, clamor, don't you think that the pulpits or religious fathers have critical roles to play?
Yes, sir. The religious fathers, religious men of different faith, they have a lot to do. They have to act as intermediaries between the government and the people. They must learn to tell the truth when the government is going wrong, or with policies that are anti-people. They should be able to speak up. And when there are ethnic clashes, or different ethnic nationalities are having issues of clashes and distrust and conflicts, they ought to come in, and assist the government in trying to create a balance and peace. They are vitally important to the system. But you see, the way we are now and the way we are configured by way of religion and the people we look up to, there's a huge lacuna in contemporary day men of God vis-a-vis the other times that came before us. Because right now, everyone is after his own. Everyone is after power, fame, and money within the corridors of religion. Now, that has endangered the entire system and the way and manner and the modus operandi via which men of God ought to work in consonance with government. The government needs them. The people need them. But whether they are working accordingly to achieving results is a different matter.
But
otherwise, it's important for them.
Bishop, when a cleric
Yes,
is rather too close to the government, such a cleric will be, heavily criticized. Yes. Recall that there was an Islamic cleric that was close to the government during the tenure of Muhammadu Buhari in the northern part of this country. At some point in time, he reportedly went into the forest in Zamfara state to negotiate with bandits and all that. At the end of the day, many Nigerians criticized him heavily. And so you begin to think that it's a taboo, sort of, for the men of God in Nigeria, irrespective of creed, to be close to the government. But yet you said that the government needs these ones.
Okay, you are correct. It's unfortunate that Nigerians feel that way, but Nigerians are human. Nigerians are also human. Government is always interfacing with religious bodies, with clerics, pastors, bishops. The reason government does that basically ought to have been, and I think is, because of their role as intermediaries. The man that was doing that job on behalf of government and the Nigerian people, some Nigerians didn't appreciate him. They didn't appreciate him. That's the Nigerian factor, the Nigerian system. Even at one time, the government, again, like you are saying, was even against him. So this is where we are. There's so much confusion, there's so much distrust. Okay. This is exactly what is happening.
Let me take you to the north. What is happening? We are looking at managing inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria. No doubt you have established the fact that this distrust is well pronounced. But I'm going to, cite examples of happenings in Plateau and Benue State. As we speak, do you call the massacre, the bloodletting, the killings going on in Benue State, in Plateau? I don't want to generalize it by saying the North Central. Do you attribute that or those killings or that development to inter-ethnic distrust? I mean, the killings, who are the ones killing these ones?
Well, it's unfortunate and it's sad, the bloodletting in those areas you talked about. And it's been going on for a while. It has a historical connotation, a historical background.
What history is behind it?
It's the same issue of distrust, the same issue of ethnicity. Are you following me? The same issue of land grabbing from what we know or what we've studied and researched. Okay, now the issue here is the people involved, they have a historical legacy. This historical legacy is what's causing the problem. It's not like in Nigeria, there's still historical legacy, like we talked about, historical legacy, and that has created problem. The Biafran Civil War is still a problem because of the historical aspect of it. So in a nutshell, it's sad that is happening in those two states, and it seems like the government is the hands of the government are tied. But most of the time, will you call it that this is happening via the national the ethnic nationalities in conflict within Nigerian states, or their influx from somewhere else? Because if you look at if you look at the typology the dynamics via which these killings are taking place, you discover that the boundaries around the north there, where are the people coming from? The conflict just don't come from people within the eventual area. They are like bandits coming from outside the border and coming for vendetta based on historical perspective. That's what's going on, I think, and I know.